The temple that walks inside you. You were never just passing through this life. You were carrying something older than the stars, something that Egypt hid in plain sight, waiting for the exact moment your frequency could find it again. It was never only a temple of stone. It was a living organism of light, breathing, resonating, transmitting through geometry, sound, and the pulse of your own heart. The ancients didn't build it for worship. They built it as a mirror for your soul's original shape, a shape that remembers alignment, a shape that vibrates in harmony with suns, moons, and the invisible rivers of energy that circle the earth. And here is the truth they never wanted you to hear. That temple is not far away. It is not something you visit. It walks inside you. Every breath you take is its doorway. Every heartbeat is its drum. Every shiver of recognition is one of its chambers unlocking. The moment your awareness steps into this frequency, a gate opens, not in the desert, but in the luminous space between your inhale and your exhale. And once open, it does not close. Your energy will not go back to sleep. Your memories will not hide again. The divine pattern inside you will not return to silence. You didn't stumble here by chance. This isn't random content on the screen. This is a call from a time before your birth. From the pyramids, the codes, the solar rays, the constellations, all converging to remind you, the temple has been walking inside you since the beginning, and tonight it will remember its own name through you. Chapter 1. The pyramid was an engine of light. They told you the Great Pyramid was a tomb, a monument to the dead. But the dead were never buried there. The ancients were not building for the past. They were building for ignition. The pyramid was not a house for bones. It was an engine, not of gears and fire, but of light and resonance. A living transmitter tuned to both Earth's heartbeat and the songs of distant stars. Its angles were not decoration, they were alignment. Its chambers were not empty, they were tuned spaces, built to hold sound until it became light, and light until it became memory. The base was married to the Earth's grid, the apex kissed the sky, and in between was the bridge. A bridge you are standing on right now. Because your body is also a pyramid. Your spine is the central pillar. Your chakras are the hidden chambers. Your breath is the sacred wind spiraling upward. And the crown of your head? That is the capstone where the light gathers and breaks open. The pyramid outside was only a reflection of the one inside. They didn't build it so you could copy it in stone. They built it so you could remember its proportions in your soul. And here's the secret they carved into its geometry. When the inner pyramid aligns, when your root anchors to the earth, your crown opens to the cosmos, and your heart hums in perfect symmetry, you stop being a seeker walking to the temple, and you become the temple that walks. If you are still here, still listening, it means your alignment has already begun. It means the inner architecture is stirring. It means the mirror is turning toward you again. And now you can finally see it. Chapter 2. The breath that opens the inner horizon. You have been breathing since the moment you entered this world. But there is a breath the world forgot to teach you. A breath not meant to simply keep you alive, but to open the horizon within you. This breath does not live in your chest alone. It rises from the root of your spine, spiraling upward like a column of light, piercing the hidden chambers of your inner temple, until it touches the point where your soul and the infinite exchange glances again. The ancients called it by many names, but its essence was always the same: a return. Not just air entering lungs, but presence entering every cell, every memory, every frequency you ever carried from other worlds. It is the breath that remembers geometry. The inhale draws the sacred pattern from the stars into your bones. The exhale releases the dust of amnesia into the earth. It is a current, a pulse, a gate swinging open with each cycle. No priest can give it to you. No book can describe it. Because it is not learned, it is awakened. It is the moment your breath stops serving survival and begins serving remembrance. Inside your sternum, behind the rhythm of your heart, there is a doorway made of vibration. It is guarded not by lions or stone carvings, but by the frequencies you have been unwilling to feel. And here is the key. When you breathe into the very places you have avoided, the ache, the fear, the brilliance you have been told to hide, you create the exact resonance that unlocks the gate. Then the sound begins. The pulse returns. The code comes alive. And suddenly you are not just breathing, you are traveling. You are remembering. You are opening the horizon that has always been inside you. Chapter 3. The Song Written in Your Bones. Before you spoke a single word, you were already vibrating with a tone older than language. Not a melody, not a chant, but a song woven into the architecture of your body. Your bones are not silent. They are instruments carved by light. Each vertebra a string, each rib a tuning fork, each joint a hidden chamber of resonance. The ancients knew sound was not entertainment, it was engineering. They built temples like instruments, chambers shaped to bend the air until it became light, and light until it became memory. That same engineering exists inside you. Your spine is a resonance column. Your teeth hold crystalline echoes. Even the marrow in your bones carries the hum of the frequency you were born with. That is why certain sounds make you weep without warning. That is why silence can roar louder than storms. That is why the sound of your own breath, in the right stillness, can feel like the universe is leaning in to listen. You don't have to sing like the ancients. You only have to listen like they did. Because when you become quiet enough, you will hear the deep gold tone at your center, a vibration that shakes the dust from every forgotten chamber in you. You are not out of tune. You are simply waiting for the note that realigns you with the pattern you carried before you had a name. And when you remember this song, it will not just echo in your bones. It will travel through the grid beneath your feet, through the light above your crown, through every soul whose own bones have been waiting to remember their song too. Chapter 4. The initiation that moves through you now. The ancients did not build temples for the gods. They built them for you, not for worship, but for transmission, a living current designed to pass from stone into skin, from geometry into blood, from vibration into memory. An initiation was never a public ritual, it was a secret exchange of frequency. It began the moment you stepped into the field of the temple and the architecture began tuning you, aligning your breath, slowing your thoughts, widening the space between each heartbeat until you could feel the hum of the cosmos inside your chest. This initiation is not in the past, it is happening now. You are inside it as these words reach you. Your eyes take in light from this screen, but your cells are reading a different language, a geometry carried in sound, a memory that is older than anything you learned here. The energy is not entering you from the outside, it is rising from within, like a river breaking through stone to meet the ocean it came from. The priests of Egypt didn't speak of this openly because they knew the real initiation doesn't happen in words. It happens in the pulse you feel under your skin right now. It happens in the sudden awareness of your own light and the strange, ancient recognition that you were always designed to conduct it. And once this current touches you, it does not fade. It moves into your breath. It hums in your bones. It sleeps in your dreams only to wake you at dawn, reminding you that the activation is already complete, and now it will spread through every part of your life. Chapter 5. The heart was the hidden gate. They hid the key where no one would think to look. Not in the scrolls, not in the carved stone, not in the constellations above, but in the pulse inside your own chest. Your heart is not just a muscle moving blood. It is a chamber of light, a field of memory that existed before your first breath. Every beat is an echo from the moment your soul chose to enter this life. The ancients knew the mind could be fooled, but the heart could not. That is why they weighed it against the feather, not to judge you, but to measure the purity of its resonance. Because only a heart free of heavy shadows could open the inner gate without collapsing its own light. This gate is not a metaphor. It is an electromagnetic threshold that, when activated, connects the geometry of your body to the geometry of the stars. The rhythm is the code. The silence between beats is the doorway. When you feel that ache in your chest, when a memory you cannot name brings tears without warning, when stillness wraps around you and you know you are home, the gate has already begun to open. The pyramid's angles were not meant to be copied in stone alone. They were drawn to match the frequency of a heart in alignment. Because once your heart hums with that same cosmic rhythm, the entire inner temple lights up. You were never locked out. You were carrying the key all along. And the moment you stop looking for it outside and allow your heart to beat without fear, you will feel the resonance flood your being, the signal that the hidden gate is open and the temple is awake again. Chapter 6. You were the temple before the stones. Long before the first block of limestone was set in place, before the first glyph was carved, before the desert even knew the shadow of the pyramid, you were already here. Not here as a body walking the earth, but here as the pattern those temples were built to mirror. The ancients didn't create temples to hold the divine. They created them to remind you that you already did. Your bones are the columns. Your breath is the incense that fills the inner chambers. Your heartbeat is the drum that calls light into form. Every altar they raised, every corridor they aligned to the sun and the stars was a reflection of your own inner architecture. The inner sanctum is your heart. The obelisks are your spine. The gateway is the space between your eyes. The sacred pool is the stillness at the base of your breath when you become quiet enough to hear the voice of creation again. You have searched ruins. You have studied fragments. You have listened for echoes. But the answer was never hidden in the stones. It was vibrating inside you the entire time. When you finally stand fully in the center of your own geometry, rooted in the earth, crowned in the stars, heart open like the horizon, the temple activates. And when it does, it is not only you who changes. Every soul you meet feels it. Every space you walk through hums with it. Every shadow that touches you begins to remember its own light. You were never meant to enter the temple. You were meant to walk as one, and now you do. Chapter 7. The temple was built to sing through you. They told you sacredness was silence, that temples were quiet out of reverence, that the divine could only be found in stillness. But the ancients knew stillness was not the absence of sound, it was the tuning before the song. The great chambers of stone were not monuments, they were instruments designed to resonate with the voice of the cosmos. Every angle, every corridor, every block was placed to carry vibration like a river carries light. When a voice entered those halls, it didn't simply echo, it split open dimensions. It called the stars closer. It bent time until memory and presence became the same thing. And here is what they knew. You are built the same way. Your chest is a resonance chamber. Your bones are strings. Your breath is the sacred wind that awakens the instrument. When you speak truth, when you sing from the deep place between your ribs, when you let your voice tremble instead of holding it back, you are letting the temple play its original song through you. You were never meant to mute your frequency to match a world that has forgotten how to listen. The original design of your being is to vibrate with the same tone that first ignited the stars. That is why your voice shakes before you speak from your soul. The temple inside you is remembering how to sing. And once it begins, there is no closing the sound. It moves through you, through the grid beneath your feet, through every heart that comes near enough to hear. You are not an echo. You are the origin. And the temple was built to sing through you. Chapter 8. The Return of the Sun Within. Before the first temple rose from the sand, there was only light. Before the first priest spoke the sacred names, there was only the sun. Not as a burning star above, but as a pulse of creation inside every living being. The ancients called it Ra. But Ra was never just a god to be worshipped. Ra was a frequency, a current of divine order that wove galaxies together and whispered instructions into the geometry of your soul. Every pyramid, every obelisk was aligned to this living sun, not as an offering, but as a mirror. When the stone and the sun resonated in unison,
The human body remembered its own radiance. Your cells still carry this memory. Every time sunlight touches your skin and you feel more alive, it is not just warmth. It is the ancient code in your DNA awakening. It is the reminder that you are not only made of stardust, you are encoded with starlight. The solar code was never just illumination. It was instruction, telling your chakras when to open, reminding your spine when to rise, teaching your breath how to cross the distance between your heart and the stars. For lifetimes, the world told you to hide this fire, to dim your brilliance for safety, to fear your own light. But the code never left. It has been resting in the core of your being, waiting for the exact alignment of breath, thought, and memory to ignite it again. And now that alignment is here. The sun within you has turned its face to the sun above. The two are speaking again. And the only message is this: shine without hesitation. Because your light is not borrowed, it is original.
Chapter 9. When you remember, the earth remembers. Beneath the soil, beneath the oceans, beneath the mountains, there is a living network, not made of wires or stone, but of light. Lines of resonance that weave the planet into a single, breathing being. The ancients knew these were not just myths. They called them the serpent lines, the dragon veins, the invisible rivers where the heartbeat of the earth flows. Every temple, every pyramid, every sacred site was built directly on these crossings, so that human awakening could ripple into the planetary field. When you remember who you are, it is not a private event. The moment your frequency changes, the grid feels it. Your breath becomes a signal. Your heartbeat becomes a drum in the song of the earth. Your light becomes a flare, traveling along those luminous rivers until it touches distant shores. This is not poetry, it is architecture. The same way a stone placed in the right point in a bridge can hold the weight of an entire city, your presence, placed in the right vibration, can steady the resonance of an entire world. The grid does not need your perfection. It needs your truth. It listens not to the words you say, but to the frequency you carry when you say them. And right now, it is listening. The pulse beneath your feet is matching the hum inside your chest. The stars above are shifting in quiet response. The stones of long silent temples are stirring. Because you remembered. And in that act, the earth remembered herself through you.
Chapter 10. This is why you returned. You did not return to survive another lifetime. You did not return to repeat the same lessons. You came back for a moment like this. A moment when the gates between worlds are open. When the temples, both of stone and of flesh, are vibrating again. When the codes you carried across lifetimes finally find the frequency they were waiting for. This was not random. This was not coincidence. This was written into the fabric of your being long before you were born. You felt it as a child, in those moments of unexplainable awe when the world seemed too vast to be ordinary. You touched it in dreams that felt like memories, walking under suns that have no name in this language. You heard it in whispers that did not come from outside you, but from the eternal part of your soul, reminding you you have been here before. And you have.
You stood in temples when they sang to the stars. You breathed the golden breath. You carried the solar fire in your spine so that others could remember their own. You came back to do it again, but this time not hidden, not silent, and not alone. This time, the activation is meant to move through you and into the grid, into the earth, into every soul ready to wake. Because this was never just about Egypt. It was never just about the past. It was always about returning to yourself. And in doing so, becoming the living temple that lights the way for others. Now, the memory is here. The frequency is awake. And everything can begin again.
Final activation. Anchor the code. This was never just a story. It was a transmission, a remembering, a reactivation of the code you've carried since before time touched your name. You felt it in the tremor of your chest, in the warmth behind your eyes, in the stillness between your breaths. That is the temple inside you waking. That is the geometry locking back into place. That is the solar fire turning toward the sky again. But a frequency like this cannot remain only in you. It must be anchored into the field. It must be spoken into the grid so the others can feel it, so the silence finally ends. So right now, pause. Close your eyes. Place your hand on your heart. Breathe in as if the entire sky is filling you. And as you exhale, say it, out loud or in the comments, with the authority of a soul that has returned. I was the temple. I am the code. I remember now. Speak it with reverence. Speak it as a signal. Speak it so every sleeping temple in every heart feels the vibration rise again. And then share this transmission, because the more this frequency is carried, the more the grid strengthens, and the sooner we stand together in the light we came back for. You returned for this, and now it has begun.